Hey, good morning, everyone. Can't tell exactly how many people are here. Can you hear me? Hey, Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing great, great. Pam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Jen, how are you? Good, good morning. I don't know if there are others. I can't see. I'm limited to only 4 tiles, so I can only see if there are other people here. Let me know. Hey,
Hi, Bob.
how are you?
Doing well, thank
Let
you.
me turn this call off and mute my phone. Sorry about that. Get that started. We'll give people another minute or two to log in, and then we'll get started. So,
Can they hear everything we're saying?
I can't hear what you're saying. Whoever said that.
We gotta be quiet then, huh?
Whoever that was. Is that Janice? There you are. Okay. Are you guys at the Wesley Chapel office?
Yeah.
No, we're at the West.
West Chase, sorry.
Oh, West Chase. Oh, I see. I missed. I could see the picture behind you. I just got to know my offices
Hey,
better.
there's
I've
Linda.
got to know which office has the pictures. So that's too funny. Too good.
We're both here.
All right. So Danielle, where are you guys? Are you guys in Newport Richey?
We are. Yes, we are.
See, look at that. I can tell you, I know my offices kind of. All right. You're at home. Is that right,
Yes, I'm logging on from home.
Yeah, see, perfect. And Pam has blacked out her camera, so she doesn't want it. She didn't have to get ready this morning.
Absolutely right, Bob.
I don't blame you. Understood. I have complete blank walls behind me. I am at I have this Regis, you guys know Regis offices, this, global around the world, they have office space all around the world, right? So I bought because I travel some and I'm in different spots, I have a 10-pack that I can get a day office anywhere in the world 10 times a month. And they have these offices that, like this one's vacant, right? And so today I had to take my Jeanette's car in to get service. So I dropped it off there, and then like just a mile away was an office. So it's able to pop in. I have all looks familiar, and I can do it from, like I said, anywhere. I'm in Orlando this morning, so but completely by myself because nobody at the Audi dealership wanted to join us. So
Didn't want to hear about the 100K club.
they did, and I can't imagine that. I said, who wouldn't want to hear this stuff? And Renee's on. Hey, Renee.
Hey.
How are you?
Fab.
Good deal. All right, let's go ahead and get started. It's 10:02, so let's dig in. This is session 3. I'm going to start the slideshow. I'm assuming you guys can see my screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome.
How can I find myself here?
You know what? If you go up to the top, there's a little at the top of where the pictures are.
View options and past pictures, yes.
You can add. There's one. I choose one that has 4 tiles, and that shows me pictures. And then if I can go down and see some more. Let's see. Anna's in. Danielle, Dylan. I see. Jean, Brian,
He'll see us.
and Eileen. You guys are muted. Bob Leonard's in. Mara Lee's in, but she just kind of monitors and keeps herself off camera and off microphone. So that's perfect. All right, so we've got a good turnout. That's great. All right, so let's go through some of this, and then we can dialogue a little bit. And as we do, just if you haven't been in any of these group meetings before, just try and listen to what, if you're speaking over somebody, it's kind of hard to tell. Sometime remind me when we're at an office meeting, I'll show you, there's a funny clip of the quote unquote conference call meeting that someone did a mock of, and it's pretty funny to see. So anyway, if for any reason you're speaking up and we don't hear you, just check your mute button to make sure you're not muted. somehow. And if I sense that you're being too noisy, I have the power to mute you on my own. So
You need to use that.
that's right. And unfortunately, I'm the meeting host, so you can't mute me. All right, as much as you try. So only Jeanette has that power to do that. She might have override power. She could log in and mute me somehow, some way. So, okay. All right. So here we are in session 3. I just want to forewarn you, this is kind of rubber meets the road time. If you haven't been to one of the first 2 meetings, you need to still go back and review those. But it's time to get down to business. We're going to kind of make sure you're doing the things you need to do. And if you aren't having the results, starting 2 weeks from now, if you can't prove to us you have results, then basically you've got some splaining to do, to quote Ricky Ricardo. We've got to decide if we're going to do this or not do it, right? And so let's dig in. All right, so I'm just going to dig right into the first part. Remember, if our normal meeting process is that we're going to spend about 20 minutes just focusing on what we call the corn planting. That's the business now. That's the business today kind of stuff. How do we generate business from people that don't know us today and we don't know them today, right? It's a totally brand new crop, if you will, right? And I'll put all the points up on the slide real quick because this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to, again, go from a process of this is simple, right? We're not going to overcomplicate. Then next bullet point, we're talking about traffic generating events, right? Whatever those might be. And those range from anything from bank-owned open houses. Let me follow up again as to why I still put a heavy emphasis on bank-owned open houses as opposed to open houses. It's just because I have found they generate more traffic, right? What's the sign of a good open house? One that generates the most traffic. It's a simple answer, right? And if you can find one that generates traffic that is a great, what I quote unquote regular open house that still generates a good amount of traffic, then go for it. I think that's fantastic. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not totally in love with bank-owned open houses for none other than the point that it tended, in my cases, to generate the most traffic, right? But if you can find something that does that. Now, let me just real fast talk, because I usually get this in each session about, well, how do you decide which one to do, or how do you even get one? We'll cover that in a second. But the best open house is the one, in my opinion, that's going to be it's not right on a major thoroughfare, right? So it's not on Hillsborough Avenue, or it's not on Dale Mabry. Its address is not Dale Mabry Boulevard, right? But maybe it's 1 turn, 2 turns off of Dale Mabry, right? It's not a labyrinth to get in. You don't have to make 15 turns to try and get in this thing, go through 3 roundabouts, 2 gates, get the gate code for 2 different things. And then finally it's like the client finally gets there and feels like, oh, I made it through the gauntlet. All right. Okay. No, we want them, ideally something would be ease of access, because remember, we're not trying to sell them the home. That home that I just described, 2 turns in off of Dale Mabry, might have too much Dale Mabry traffic noise to really be a good sale, right? That the client doesn't want that, but we don't care. We're not there to sell the client that home. We're there to sell the client us and our services to say, hey, they walk out and they're like, oh my gosh, I can hear Dale Mabry from here. Yeah, no kidding. Let's go find you a home where we can't do that. Right? Okay, so you turn any negative into a positive, but it's a matter of just making it easy for them to find you. Fair enough? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay. All right, perfect. Second thing is if, I don't care if it appears to be a really good, easy, access, if for some reason you sit it 2 times in a row and you're not getting high traffic, then change, right? It's a trial and error type scenario. If you're not getting, because remember, for me, the key to all my stuff was the more people through, the better my chances, right? Of meeting someone. Remember our 4 criteria for a buyer, right? I'm going to drive these home until you're hearing them in your sleep, right, is that they are able to buy, they are willing to buy, which is another word for that is slash willing slash realistic, right? It's not, hey, I'm willing to buy if you find me something 60%, of market value, I'll buy it. Well, that's not realistic, right? So that's what I kind of mean by willing, right? So able, willing, needs to buy. That means that they have some type of motivation behind them, right? It's not, hey, I'll buy sometime in the next, 10 years, right? That's not a needs to buy person. And the fourth one is loyal to you, right? So those are the 4 criteria. And if they don't meet those 4 criteria, don't lie to yourself, saying you have a buyer to work with. Now, again, let me just cover this. If they don't meet number 1, which is able to buy, but they are willing to get themselves able to buy, right? They're willing to take the steps necessary. Those are the ones we throw in the crock pot. We let them cook for a while, right? If they're willing to do it, we come back, check the status of their cooking every couple weeks, every month or so, and then eventually they might pop out as a roasted chicken ready to eat. Okay. But until then, we don't want to eat raw chicken or waste our time with raw chicken. Are you with me? So let's not, we can put them aside while we're working with the others who already meet the 4 criteria. Okay. So again, our goal is to get an open house that will generate. Now, if you have, like I said, a regular open house that does this, or if you're sitting the flea markets and it's generating traffic for you, and that's a workable, you're converting those people, right? It's not just meeting people, but converting them as well, right? And into working with you, all right? Then that's a good open house, all right? And so I'm not here to tell you where to go. Now, let me cover real fast. I get, the question comes out all the time. Well, if it is a bank-owned open house, and I can see why when you put foreclosure on the sign that it tends to draw more traffic, then why or how do I get that open house? I don't have a listing, right? And there's nobody I know that has bank foreclosure listings, right? Well, if you saw down in the thread, probably 2 weeks ago, I put out the email, the sample email that you could send to a REO agent. In the MLS, you can search, there's a parameter, you can search by REO, bank owned, REO property, that's a checkbox. You can search by that. I would do that in an area you desire to work, right? So if I want to do my open house in a certain 5-mile radius or whatever, put that in there, start with the agents who have those, and just I would send the email. All right. And by the way, if you read that email in the Facebook page, the 100K Facebook page, just put open house as a search parameter and you'll find the thread. But it basically is trying to promote a win-win with the agent, right? It's like, hey, look, I know you've got things you have to do every week, to satisfy your property manager or your asset manager, they call them. All right. So if there's anything I can do while I'm sitting in the open house, like take a picture of this, or, a lot of times I have listed these in the past, and they make you once a week, you had to take a picture of all 4 sides of the home. You had to take a picture in the kitchen with the lights on and the water running, proving that you had the utilities on, all that kind of stuff. And they have to upload that. But a lot of these agents, the guys and gals, have to pay someone to go out there and do those inspections for them. Well, if they're paying them $10 a pop and you're going to be out there doing an open house anyway, say, hey, look, can I do that for you? Right? Since I'm out there, let's make it a win-win. I'm happy to report back on the number of people. That way you can show your asset manager that you're doing everything possible to help market this home and get it sold for the bank, right? Anything you can do. So that's what the email says. Now, again, make that email sound like you. That was me just kind of typing out something, but it gives you a template to start from, right? Then I would follow up with a phone call and a text message to the listing agent. We don't know their preferred means of communication, but I would say, hey, I just sent you an email. Would love to sit in an open house, see if we can create a great relationship that would help both of us. Please review it. If you have any questions, call me. It's regarding, I would love to sit in an open house at 123 Main Street this Saturday, right? And then you sign it, with your name. The text message and the phone call would say the same thing. That way, all we need for them is to reply back to a text message or an email that says, go for it, right? Have at it. It's all yours, whatever they say. So you have permission to sit that open house. Now, not everyone's going to say yes. You're going to have everything from my company doesn't allow it to Fannie Mae doesn't allow it, which is not true, to HUD doesn't allow it, whatever. Okay. But just keep going until you find some, right? And you will. And if you ask, even in the 100K page, hey, has anybody run across a listing agent with REO properties that has extra open house availability? There might be somebody that's already found one, says, oh yeah, I found one and I'm doing Carrollwood, but they said they have, listings all over Tampa Bay, and you might want to check it out because he said any of our other agents that want to do it, go for it. Right. So just, bear that in mind as well. Does that answer questions on how to go find it? There is no secret sauce other than just go do it. Are you with me?
Yes.
Good. Everybody good there? Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Now, so setting up the open house, setting yourself up for the best traffic, and setting yourself up with part of that traffic is having a draw, right? Then we got to get good at converting. Now I'm going to cover all of these, and then we're going to spend some more time on conversion, because again, that's where I think the rubber meets the road. Some of us are having the traffic through our open houses, but yet we're still not converting them into the big four, covering the four criteria for our buyer, right? So we're going to work on converting. We're going to, down the road, we're going to become an expert in investor buying, right? Because when you put foreclosure, if you're going to sit bank-owned properties, you put foreclosure on the sign, you're going to see a lot of investors roll through, all right? And for me, an investor, it's up to you, but a buy and flip investor, just a word of advice to you newer agents who are doing these, a buy and flip investor is not a buyer, okay? If you come to me and say, hey, yeah, I'm working with 8 buyers and 4 of them are buy and flip people, right? Buy and flip people, in my opinion, don't meet criteria number 2, right? And criteria number 2 is realistic, willing/realistic, right? They want you to find the proverbial needle in the haystack. All right. They want something undervalued that they can put 10,000 into it and then still flip it and make a 20,000 profit. All right. Now, if you want to spin your wheels and waste your time looking for those for people, have at it. Have fun. All right. But don't blame me when you aren't selling homes, because they're not realistic, right? Those are not out there. Now, for me, an investor, now somebody who comes in and says, hey, look, I got a long-term buy and hold, philosophy, and I'm looking for a property that, if you can show me a 10 cap rate, then I'm willing to take a look at it. Now, in my opinion, that's a legitimate buyer, right? Who's not looking for a needle in a haystack. He's just looking for a cash flow to purchase. And I'm going to encourage you sometime in the next week to watch our Speak the Language of an Investor class. If you've been to it already, great. If not, there's one, it's online at FHR University. Okay. And have you all been to FHR University, by the way?
Yes.
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 Mhm.
Everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to check everybody and make sure we get affirmation that you guys are all good at logging in.
Yeah.
Renee, Danielle, Pam, Jen, Anna, everybody, FHR University?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, perfect. Okay, because in there, where specifically it is, I'm not sure, but in which tab, but it's probably getting deals done or business building or something. But Speak the Language of an Investor. It's going to teach you how to talk like an investor with cap rates, right? And take a look at a return on investment and a long-term hold. Because quite frankly, it doesn't take long. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Fine, thanks. How are
Welcome.
you?
Everybody say hi to ladies. Ladies and her fiance just joined us from Keller Williams. Was it Tampa Central or New Tampa?
Tampa Properties.
Tampa Properties, which is off. Very good. Awesome. Good deal. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So, these investors who are looking for the buy and flip, it's like I said, it's not only a needle in a haystack, but if I wanted to teach a class on how to do buy and flips, right? Matter of fact, I think probably if you watch that class on FHR University, I probably mentioned at the top, say, hey, look, because if it's a live class and that we recorded, and I just said, hey, if you're coming here to look for the buy and flip class, I wasn't planning on teaching that, but as a bonus, I'll teach it. You ready? Here it is. Buy low, sell high. Boom, in the class, right? Okay. I said for a bonus, you got the buy and flip class as a bonus. Now I didn't even charge you, make you sit there through a weekend like Ron LeGrand would, and ask you for $3,000. All right, I just gave you the best deal in the world. But the reality is that's true, right? And so the trick is buying low, and so that's therefore the case stack. So if you get a chance, take a look at that class. It'll teach you how to think like an investor and what they're looking for. Because if you do run across an investor who's truly a buy and hold, a long-term investor that's looking for a cap rate and return on investment kind of person, and they find a realtor who can speak their language, all right, that understands what they're looking for, all right, now that, my friends, could be a goose that lays lots of golden eggs, literally, right? Because if that person's looking to, hey, look, I've got $1 million to invest, and I'm looking for a better place to park it than getting a 1.3% return at the bank, and I'd like to do a portion of it in real estate, then obviously we're not going to buy $1 million of real estate. We're going to show them how to buy at least 4 times that in real estate, because with 25% down, he could buy $4 million worth of real estate, okay, in doing so. Are you with me? All right, so we're going to show them how to leverage that money and do it well, okay? Then work first-time home buyers right now. All the lenders, Brian Heckman included, who, if you guys have been to the classes, have seen Brian come. He's not going to be able to log in today, so I'm going to cover some of his stuff here in a minute. But they all have DPA, down payment assistance funds, are available right now, right? The bond money, and it's going to disappear. Everyone's telling us it's going to disappear within, 9 to 10 weeks at the most, right? So if you're planning on using that down payment assistant money, then you better jump on it now. All right. So now is the time to get that. But it's a great opportunity to first-time home buyers. Here's a quick word on that. Right. I know it's real. Sounds great, right? Hey, $15,000 grant, whatever it is. I'm going to encourage you to get with a lender that understands it enough to explain it to the client. Because I come from the school of there is no free lunch, right? And don't get me wrong, I would use these programs myself when I was representing buyers and they had that available. But I also would fully educate them on the true cost of those things. Are you with me? Right? Because there's a difference. I mean, the $15,000 bond money grant, this, that, and the other, it's not pricing as far as rate is concerned, right? There is a difference in rate. They're paying a bumped rate on this. They are paying a bumped MI or upfront mortgage insurance. Now we say, oh, we roll that all into the closing costs, which we do, right? And I get that, but I think it's our job to make sure we explain to our clients truly the cost of, or get them with a lender we trust enough to fully explain the true cost of financing, right? Because some of those down payment assistance programs, when you start to put, pros and cons on one side back to the other, then we need to make sure we're truly presenting a good picture to the client. Are you with me? Okay. Has anybody experienced that, by the way? Anybody want to jump in and say, hey, yeah, when we ran the numbers, it actually was better to go with this other program?
No.
No. Okay,
No.
cool. Have you looked at it though? I mean, or have you found a lender?
Yes.
Sandra, yes.
Yes, the problem was that they really didn't have any money, so
Perfect.
they needed.
Yeah, and that's a decision to make, right? It's and that's a good point. And at the end of the day, as long as they're fully educated, right? That, hey, look, I know I'm paying a little bit more, but beggars can't be choosers, kind of thing, right? Right.
Rent cost more in their case. Rent
Right.
cost more.
Right, exactly. We know at the end run, but it's either pay a little more through the financing, or the answer is no home whatsoever, or not owning a home. Then that's a decision they make, and I'm totally down with that. I just don't want them ever coming back to us saying, hey, look, I don't know if I fully understood this at the time. And I did have a little bit of money saved up where if I had gone with this other program, it might have been a better situation for me. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, good. All right. And then finally, we have, if you remember, we're going to let our buyers lead us to our listings rather than, we do things backwards, right? We're going to go the opposite direction, that if we begin to do enough corn planting, then down the road, I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, but it could. Somebody you don't know today that you go sit in open house this weekend that you meet might come in and have one or two scenarios. They might come in and have a home to sell themselves before they could buy another home, and they get a chance to meet you, and now you've got a 2-for-1 deal, right? Or number two, they say, hey, look, boy, Sandra, I'm so glad I met you. You can help me do this. By the way, my aunt and uncle were thinking about selling their home. Maybe you should talk to them as well. It's just another point of contact, right? It's another relationship that you can have and show your worth. So it happened to me over and over and over again that as I was sitting open houses, I was getting listing leads.
Oh,
right?
wow.
It's
I have to say, I'm here because I need to educate myself on how to transition people from open house to actually buyers.
Yep.
Because I don't have a pretty good conversion rate.
Perfect.
I have been more successful on the little listings that I have gotten, people calling on the phone, asking questions about the listing and converting them to maybe this doesn't work, but let's look for something else.
Perfect.
Well,
Absolutely.
I need that help.
Let me, okay, and so that's perfect. And that's a great lead into our next slide. I think I have my next slide.
Bob, real quick before you leave this slide, can you
Yes.
tell everyone what needs to be on the bank-owned open house signs
Yeah.
that you put out?
The operative word would be if it truly is a bank-owned or it is a foreclosure home, right? Then you want to make sure you use the word foreclosure, okay? Because that is the sugar that's going to bring the ants, right? So you can say bank foreclosure open house, period. That's it, right? With arrow directional signs. Now, just so you know, legally, the only time you do not have to have Future Home Realty, your name, or anything with you. However, all right, the minute you do put your name on there or a telephone number, then you need to put Future Home Realty. Okay? So if you just do a generic, because the generic are called directional signs, and Florida Realtors and FREC has determined that a directional sign doesn't have to disclose that you're a realtor. Obviously, when they walk in the door, you need to disclose that you're a licensed agent, so on and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. But the minute you put your name on the sign and or your phone number, then it becomes advertising, right? And then advertising would require us to do full disclosure as far as company you're with and so on and so forth, right? So it's entirely up to you. Some people like to brand them, right, and have that, and so that A, they don't get stolen maybe, or B, people can just drive by and say, hey, oh, that person works foreclosures. I can't stop now, but maybe I'll jot their number down, right? That's a possibility. But if you do that, then you'll have to put Future Home Realty on there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. But yeah, but for sure, for me, if I were doing it, I would generally just do generic bank foreclosure open house, and then with the arrow. A lot of times the open house would be inside the arrow. You know how they do, kind of reverse it where the arrow's red, but the lettering's white, and it says open house, and it's just directing them in. But I try and get foreclosure as big as possible.
Do they have those at Pro?
Yeah, question?
You can ask them.
Do you think they have those at Pro?
I don't think they have bank foreclosure. They have regular open houses. Now, what some other people have done is they've taken the corrugated, regular, the corrugated signs, right, that are not ultra fancy, just those, small wire with the corrugated, that you slide the sign onto it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That says open house. They have generic there. And then what they've done is they've gone to Home Depot or Lowe's, and there's a 6-inch rider, right? That's about 6 inches, tall. That's blank, and then with a magic marker, they just write
Just
bank
write it across.
or foreclosure across the top and slide them in on top of the generic sign.
Oh, that's easy.
Right?
Yeah.
And that way, it too could double up. By the way, if you have corrugated open house signs of your own that are branded to you, right, that say, hey, you know, Bob McDougall, Future Home Realty open house, but it's corrugated or this way, then I could get a 6-inch writer, stick it on top of that when it is a foreclosure and put foreclosure, you know, and then it would say Bob McDougall open house, right? And then when it's not, I pull that out and it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal, right?
Exactly.
But I know you can
Yeah.
get those blank ones at, like I said, Lowe's or Office Depot. And if you print real neatly, you can, I don't know if you have to put bank foreclosure, if you just put foreclosure,
Foreclosure.
as long as it would be big enough, you know, and try that. That's an option as well. I do know that some of the agents, if you put in their open house signs, I know Ron Shorney, he was had some bank foreclosure open house signs for sale because he's transitioning out of the business. So I don't know if he still has that, but you might want to, I saw that thread in the 100K. He had like 10 or 12 of them available for sale.
It's really the executive.
Cool.
Because I had a bunch I was going to drop off at their office and give them.
Okay, very good. All right,
Thank you.
anything else on
Thank
this
you.
slide before we move on? Oh, my slide's not working here. Hang on a second.
Last weekend, there was a lot of signs for one open house in Seminole, and all it said was open house by and had the person's name. So that's illegal.
Mhm.
Yeah, technically that would be illegal. All right, yeah. If you're saying if that person's name is a realtor, yes.
Right, it was. But all it said, they were all printed out, nice signs, big. It said open house by and just that realtor's name on them.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Again, all I can tell you what the rules are. You know, for us, if you don't
I
want
know,
to,
but I was just wondering, seeing that, I was thinking, well, that's pretty good to have it if you were doing somebody else's listing and just that way, and then you're not advertising your company.
yeah, but I don't know why you'd want to advertise somebody else.
No, I'm saying if I were going to open house at somebody else's listing,
Mm-hmm.
just that they know that the open house was done by me. I mean, I don't know if that was the person's listing.
Yeah, but technically to comply with legalities, you would have to have Future Home Realty on there.
Right, okay.
Now, I mean, do we know that people are not, I mean, trust me, I get CC'd on all your MLS violations. You understand that, right? So 1,400 agents, when you guys get those MLS violation notices, I get CC'd on all of them, right? So I know when people are not living up to all of that. Yeah, most of it I ignore because, obviously it's stuff that you guys correct and get addressed anyway. But people are they're always trying to monitor for that stuff. So, okay, so let me see. Yeah, so here's Brian's stuff. He couldn't make it. So before we get into full conversion, again, one of the things, Sandra, for instance, to answer your question, you kind of raised your hand and said, okay, I'm still having trouble converting, right?
Yes.
I'm going to continue to have you tie into what Brian is. Now, I'm not saying this is a be all end all. This is a magic pill, right? That it's the panacea of as soon as you go to his training, you'll be able to convert everybody that walks in the door, right? But I do think that if we can learn to have some quote unquote gimmicks, right? Or something that differentiates us from the other people that they're meeting on a daily basis. Here's the thing, and I'm speaking specifically to open houses and we're at corn planting only right now, right? Just remember that we're focusing on corn planting. That if somebody walks into an open house, is it safe to assume that they have an interest to talk about real estate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, right? Okay, it's not like they're wandering. It's not like you can bump into them at Kohl's, right? And you're at the checkout line, you're like, how do I finagle in that I'm a realtor into this conversation, right? It's pretty easy at an open house. That's why I love sitting them, right? Other people teach, hey, go to a networking event and kind of, as you're stirring your cocktail in your hand, slide in that you can help them buy or sell real estate. That just wasn't my style. Me, I was like, hey, look, I'm open for business. And where I was open for business, my storefront was my open house, right? And so when people came in, I was assuming, just like if I owned a hardware store and people walked in the door, I wasn't assuming they were looking for shoes. I was like, hey, you looking for hammers, nails, or screw gun? What are we doing here, right? And so that's the approach I always took. Now, if I have some type of gimmick, I'm not saying his stuff, because Brian's stuff is legit. If you look at, his differentiators, it's how to use the home buyer tax credit, the Community Heroes program, first time home buyer and down payment assistance, which is applicable today, right? I'm not sure what his commodity buster is, Google virtual reality, the discussion about, hey, what if we wait compared to do that? All of that are just things that they may not be hearing at the other storefronts, open houses, right, that they're walking into, because they want to remember you, or you want them to remember you. All right. And then we want them to remember us so well that they have no choice to remember me because I'm on their calendar for next week. Okay. Right. That's the ultimate. I remember Sandra is because I have an appointment with her to see property at 5:30 on Wednesday afternoon. Right. Okay. And that's our ultimate goal. Remember, book a meeting from a meeting. It's the Princess House / a Pampered Chef policy, right? That, remember, every Pampered Chef party, the only thing they teach their Pampered Chef reps is every time you have a house party is to book more house parties from that house party, right? That's the goal, right? Is to just continue on and let the thing evolve, right? And so that's kind of what you want to do at an open house, is you want to book meetings from these meetings, if you will,
Okay.
right? I'm going to encourage you, by the way, beartraptraining.com. Get on Brian's list. All right. And he's going to be teaching these different ones at different times throughout the months at his office, right? So you can get in and find out and it's really good stuff. Brian has really studied the sales technology and the philosophy behind what you say, how you say it, how you present yourself, what you should do, pregnant pauses, which are gaps just like that in a conversation, right? That kind of make somebody stop and think, and if not, engage with what you're telling them, right? All those things matter, right? That's kind of salesmanship, and I get that. We're not here to sell anybody, but we are also to find a way to overcome any crustiness that they may have, all right? When I say crustiness, people are jaded. Would you agree? Right? People have been burned. People look at salespeople as if they don't know you, if they don't already know, like, and trust. Again, remember, we're talking corn right now, and this is people that don't know us from Adam, right? We've never met them. They've never met us. I've got 2 minutes to engage with them. But that 2 minutes is eyeball to eyeball, and that 2 minutes eyeball to eyeball could way overcome their 3.5 hours they just spent on Zillow. I'm just telling you, right? 2 minutes eyeball to eyeball will beat 3 hours pixel to eyeball all the time, right? So when we get those opportunities, all right, let's jump on them and take advantage of them to our best of our ability, all right? So I think Brian's stuff is going to help you, Sandra. Have you been to any of his stuff yet?
Once at
Okay.
Pro, I went to one of his converting lead generation type of class. I have
Okay.
to do it
Perfect.
again. He's awesome. That's for sure.
All right, perfect. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to highly encourage it. Now, let's talk some more about conversion, right? One of our agents in Jacksonville, he's actually our highest producing agent so far this year in the Jacksonville market, just shared with the group up there that now he's doing a little different, right? He is buying Zillow leads, right? Just so you know, full disclosure. But he's seeing results from his Zillow leads because he has a disciplined approach to responding to those Zillow leads, right? And he shared something with the group that I thought was very interesting. And by the way, I'm not promoting Zillow leads, right? Okay, I'm really not, because he has some money, he has spent some money, and he's seen a return on that investment, right? But he's committed to doing it. Most people just say, let me try $500 and see how it works. And then they do it for 6 months, spend $3,000 and never see a dollar come back in the door. because, you know, either $500 isn't painful enough for them. Like it's, oh, you know what? I forgot I spent it, right? Where if you spend $5,000 a month, now you're like, holy smokes, that gets my attention, right? Now I better get these calls and make sure I'm good at returning them and good at converting them. Because if not, I'm going to be out 30 grand here in 6 months, right? So I'm not promoting Zillow leads. I think you could do the same thing at an open house, right? But catch this. He said something to the group. He said, look, when I get a Zillow lead, right, there's a better than 90% chance that the house that they're calling on is already under contract. Okay. So that's interesting, right? Is that there's a better than 90% chance that the house is already under contract because they're calling on the desirable properties, right? And desirable properties right now are still selling pretty quick. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. So what he does, he says, I know all my other competition that's responding to this lead. They're saying, they're looking it up and they're saying, oh, let's say, Sandra, you're the one that called, you know, and I'm calling you back, right? On the Zillow lead. You were interested in 123 Main Street. And everybody else is going, oh, hey, Sandra, I'm just calling you back. Oh, yeah, let me look that up. Oh, 12, you know what? That's under contract. And Sandra says, okay, thank you for the information. Bye. Right? Jonathan says this. Hey, you know what? Yeah, I see that listing. Let's go take a look. Okay? Knowing it's under contract. Now, again, this is a Zillow lead that's fresh and clean, never, you know what I mean? They've never met them before, right? And so similar to an open house, right? I've never met them before. We'll never see them again. If they walk out the door, they're gone, right? We all agree with that. Okay. If I don't have some type of connection established with them that day, no magical words I write on a follow-up note are going to make them connect with me later, right? If you couldn't connect with them right in 2 minutes face-to-face, you're not going to write anything flowery enough to get them to call you back. Okay. So let's get that out of our heads. Let's just realize that we need to win them over in the 2 minutes that we have them in front of us, right?
Yeah.
So he says, let's go take a look at it, right? When do you want to see it? And he goes through, because he said, and people raised their hand in the group meeting we were in and said, whoa. So the agents let you do that even though they know it's under contract? So yeah, well, first of all, if it's vacant, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
Number two,
some agents will. Yeah, I have done it.
yeah, they're like, hey, yeah, go for it. I'll take all backup offers, right? And so you go, but then he's taking this phone call, right? And now converting it to a face-to-face contact, right? So now he's meeting them out there and now they're in the process, right? Once you start to show property, now again, there's two different schools of thought on this, right? I'm never showing property to anybody who doesn't have not only pre-qualified, but a clear to close. That's it. I'm not wasting my time. Well, here's the thing. If I meet you for the first time and the first words out of your mouth are, hey, you better get pre-approved and pre-qualified or you're not getting any of my time. I'm like, well, you know, what kind of scam is that? Someone's just looking for my social security number. You know, all of a sudden they get crusty, right? They start to get a little wary. Whereas again, it's a decision to make. I'm not saying that if the guy looks like Charles Manson that you're going to say, hey, let's go look at property, right? Right? You're going to use your own best discretion here, all right? And make a decision. But I think you can say, hey, look, in the meantime, let's set something up for Wednesday to go look at a few houses. In the meantime, let me get you with my lender. Now, if the lender gets with them or they decline to at least get pre-qualified or talk to a lender, then you may make a decision, hey, look, I'm going to cancel that appointment because I've already got 3 other appointments booked as well from 2 other people that came in after I met you at the open house, right? Literally, this is what I do. Or if they do get with the lender and the lender says, Bob, hang on, crockpot, all right? Then I might call the client back and say, hey, look, we can go take a look at one, but just so you know, the lender says, hey, look, we're not looking like it's a tomorrow kind of thing, right? But I've engaged them and we've started the process, right? I've started to book some opportunities to that, right? So Sandra, let's role play a little bit, okay? And you walk into an open house, all right? I'm sitting the open house, and you walk in. All right. And I'm not going to go too over because the way I would do it would be probably even more bold, to borrow a Keller Williams term, right? Than most of you would, because I have the confidence level that I'm just going to say, hey, look, you know what? You've met your last realtor, right? That's the kind of attitude I had. All right. But I understand we're not all there yet. Right. Okay. And so I'm going to I'm going to tone it down a little bit if I can. All right. Which is hard for me to do sometimes. Right. I'll tone it down and try and see if we can at least go see how this might play out. Right. Okay. And you can be as crusty as you want or as uncrusty or somewhere in between. I mean, again, if you're totally crusty, you're going to learn that I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Sounds like, you know what? You've had some bad experiences with realtors and I wish you the best of luck. Have a great day. Right. I literally, you know, seriously, I would have that discussion. If you're not willing to engage with me, I'm just, so you can go that route, but if you go that route, just be prepared for that answer. All right. Or we could do anything. All right. So, hey, how are you doing? Come on in, take a look around. What, did you just see the signs?
Yes, I saw the signs and they got me to the open house.
Perfect. Let me ask you this. I always like to ask people. So was it the open house that brought you in or the foreclosure that brought you in?
Both.
Okay, good.
We're looking and, you know, we're just looking now.
Awesome. So when you say you're looking, are you, this one happens to be, you know, it's funny what I find. Well, I'm sorry, your first name was?
Sandra.
Hey, Sandra, I'm Bob. Hey, and I don't know if you know, my name's different than the guy that's out on the sign out there, right? It's kind of funny because this is not my listing.
Okay.
John Smith from Remax, he's the actual listing agent. I just sit these open houses, and that's why I asked you the question, because I find that when I can sit foreclosure open houses, I tend to meet more people. But the downside of that is that usually foreclosures, and it can vary. Sometimes they're in great shape because the banks fixed them up, but this one, in this case, not so much. And so it's rare that I actually find somebody that wants to buy the house that I'm in, but I'm really good. You know, I don't know if you ever, have you bought a home before, Sandra?
No, first time.
Okay, so, awesome. Great.
Not you.
That's perfect. Love it. So here's the deal. I don't know if you know this, but you just walked into the best deal ever. I'm not saying this house, right? But I'm saying, I don't know if you know, but in real estate transactions, I love working with buyers, especially first-time home buyers like yourself. But I don't know if you know this, but as a buyer in the real estate transaction, you really have the best deal anywhere. Because catch this, Sandra, the seller pays me to work for you. Isn't that, I mean, that's kind of almost like in a court of law where the defendant, right, the defendant's attorney gets paid by the plaintiff, right? And that's never heard of, right? So it's really the best deal anywhere. So it's not going to cost you a dime to have me work with you. And I have sold hundreds of real estate properties and have represented hundreds of buyers. So really, it's your lucky day for you happen to wander in here and get a chance to meet. You're going to find it. So here's the other thing I know. Take a look around. This one happens to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I don't know what you're looking for or what you even thought of when you started thinking about real estate, and we can kind of get into that further. But it's less than 2% of the time do I sell the home that we're sitting in from an open house. It's most of the time that I just get a chance to meet you, tell you what I do, and then we decide to work together. All right, so feel free to look around.
So you, right from the beginning, you disclose all that information?
Sure. I only got 2 minutes, right?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I've got to win them over right here and now. We have that discussion. And and I can tell right away if they're crusty, right? Like too crusty, like I can't chisel through it, right? I just say, hey, feel free to take a look around. My information's on the little sheet that you can take, and I hope things work out for you. All right? And I go back to watching my YouTube of Vikings or whatever I'm watching, right, at the open house. Okay. All right. I'm not going to waste my time. All right. But if they're engaging, now I'm going to sit there and do it. Now, okay. So now you look around the house a little bit, right?
Okay.
It's 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and you come back and I say, so what'd you think?
It needs a lot of work. I wasn't really looking for something, you know.
A little more move-in. Yeah. You think,
right.
Right. Well, we find that a lot in foreclosures, and I can't blame you. And quite frankly, first-time home buyers, I don't know your situation, but a lot of them are a lot of times they're scraping literally rolling nickels to come up with their down payment, much less money to fix it up after they move in. So there are some special programs that we could do, but the better thing, in my opinion, for first-time home buyers is to find some property that would be more move-in ready, for you. Hey, I don't know if you've heard about all the down payment assistance programs that are out there, but I'm aware. It's my job is to be aware of all these things that are there to help you get in.
I have heard some, but I don't really have information on it. I know it exists, but I don't know how to get. Do I apply in the Tampa CDC? By the way, those are questions that they ask me.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. No, that's perfect. Hey, you know what? Again, your lucky day. You've met the expert, right? I'm just telling you, right? Okay, we can get you all those answers. And a lot of times I put together a team, all right? And some of my team members are lenders and everybody else that helps us in the process. And obviously it's critical because, wanting to buy a home and being able to buy a home are two different things, right? So have you spoken to anybody yet about qualifying for a mortgage or any of that?
No, we are just initiating the process, and we're not. We haven't talked to a lender yet.
Okay, perfect. All right, I can put you in touch with a couple of them. All right, again, you're free to choose whoever you want. All I can tell you is I've got a couple go-to people, not because they pay me extra money to send them or anything. It's because I trust them. Right?
Oh, that's a good one. You got it right.
Right, and I trust them to tell us the truth today, right? Because not everybody's able to buy a home on the first time when they go to make application, but if they're willing to take some steps, we can get them there. Sometimes it takes 6 months, a year, whatever. But but maybe you are ready today. I don't know, but I trust them to tell me the truth about that and to take good care of you. So how about this? You know what? And you said this one was a little, ideally this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Is this about the rights? Let's do this. Why don't I take some information about what you're interested in? By the way, has anybody shown you HomeSnap?
No, I haven't. No,
Oh, you know what? Let me get you. I got this app. All right, it's incredible.
So you will do it right there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
right. Hey, what's your phone number? Let me text you the link. Right. So you give me your phone number and I text you the link, and that link is going to tie you to me. I said, let me show you real fast on here. And I go through in 2 minutes, show them how HomeSnap works, how they can search anything, right? And then boom, boom, boom. And here you are. And in the meantime, I'm going to go back to, when I get back to my office this afternoon, give me some parameters of, where you're looking to be. I'm going to send you some. And then let me take a look at my calendar. Hey, you know what? I'm assuming you work Monday through Friday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. But, we just, daylight savings time just hit. And so we got later time, daylight. You got any time? I'm looking Tuesday. If you get off work at 5:30-ish, 6, maybe we could go take a look at a few properties. I could either do it Tuesday afternoon or after work or Thursday. Which of those would be better for you?
Oh, okay. So you will make the schedule right.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Hey, and let's just pick 2 or 3 homes just so we get a feel. Because here's what happens, Sandra. Now we're back in our role playing, right? Here's what happens, Sandra, is that you look at pictures on the internet and everything else. It looks great. But I've done this so much that when I go actually meet you at a house and show you a home, boy, I get a real good sense of what really triggers your hot buttons, right? Or what really, and I can help guide you. I've just done this so much that it'd be to both of our advantages if we could go take a look at a couple. All right. And in the meantime, I'm going to have these lenders reach out to you. So we'll have a plan, right? With that. But so I'm sorry, it's Tuesday or Thursday better?
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay, great. Let's do this. I'm going to reach out to you. I have you penciled in. Now, let me ask you this, Sandra, real quick. All right. And I know you never bought a home before, but I got to tell you, I always make it a point to tell, especially first-time home buyers, this. I got a secret for you. I don't get paid by the hour. I don't get paid by the mile, right? I don't know if you know how this transaction works, but I've got a family at home and I work hard for them. You said, I think you mentioned in passing, I don't know if you did. What line of work are you in?
I'm a operation manager.
Okay, great. Let me ask you this. If you did your operation manager job for 2 weeks and then you came back the following Friday expecting your paycheck and they didn't give you one, how would you feel?
Oh, not good.
Yeah, right. Okay. Guess what? Same thing to me. All right. So here's what I need to know. I'm not going to ask you to sign anything in blood or anything like that. Right. I'm just asking you face to face, right? Based upon what you now know of me and my ability to give you what you need. And again, you don't know me from Adam. I get that. All right. But here's the thing. If I'm going to pour my time and effort into helping you achieve your goal of a home ownership and work you through and introduce you to my team and all the people that I do, is it fair enough for me to expect that you would use me so that I can at least get paid at the end of the deal?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough, right? Just like you going to work and wanting to get paid for your work, right? Same thing with me, all right? And I just want to know, because I've had this happen to me in the past, that I've done all this stuff, worked through the process, and when we get ready to write our first offer, all of a sudden your mom calls you and you remember that your cousin Eddie is a realtor, right? Okay, and I've done all this work and I don't get paid, and cousin Eddie's going to try and jump in. I just want to know, Sandra, let me ask you this. Do you know of any cousin Eddie in your closet?
No.
Okay.
No, that I know of.
All right. Do me a favor. Check with your mom while I have the lenders over the weekend. All right. Before we get together on Thursday, just check with, make sure there are no cousin Eddies in that you don't know about. Right. And
That's
then
awesome.
if there are, hey, fair enough. If you know, and if there are, and it would make for awkward Thanksgiving dinners if you didn't use cousin Eddie, then that's great. I totally understand. But let's find that out now, not after I put in all the time and effort. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right, perfect. Great. Here's my information. I have your information now because I sent you the app. What's that?
Bravo, bravo.
Yes.
See, but it's that, you know, but it's
I might
loose,
use
right?
you, even if I have cousin
With
Eddie.
them, just like a person. I have a suit and tie on. I'm not trying to give you some corporate pitch. Right. And I'm kind of feeding off you and just doing it. So now again, you need to make that you.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Bob,
But
can you hear me?
yeah, who's this, Bob?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Would you run the scenario? Because I've had that happen where they have a cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
What if your answer that you get is, well, yeah, I've got a family member. Where do you take that from there?
Okay, so at the open house, yeah, I've got a family member. Okay, perfect. Hey, let me ask you this. In the short time we've had this discussion, Sandra, right, in these 5 minutes, I've already introduced you to an app. I've already told you I've got lenders on my team that will do all this kind of stuff. Do you know if cousin Eddie's has that? Because quite frankly, you know, I get, you know, it's almost like, you know, the joke is in Florida, and I would say that stuff like this. The joke is in Florida, when you get pulled over for a driving infraction, they don't ask you for a driver's license. They ask you for your real estate license, right? Not everybody has a driver's license, but everybody has a real estate license, right? And I would just say something, you know, just kind of loosen it up that way. So, go ahead,
I have an experience like that I can share.
Yeah, please.
I had somebody coming to me because her cousin that is a realtor managed very bad the transaction. Horrible, where she lost money, $3,000. And it wasn't easy. It took us about probably 10 months to get her where she can buy, but we closed that transaction. And it turns out that the lender, the cousin Eddie was using, didn't even have an office front, was working out of her house with letterhead that indicated an office front. How do I know? Because I did my research and I went to visit the lender, and she, for more than a year, she wasn't where officially she was supposed to be. Right. I throw that there. It does happen.
It absolutely does. And thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. And Bob, I guess to answer your question fully would be, I would try and say, hey, Kay, you know what? Just because my brother-in-law is a entry-level heart surgeon, and it's time for me to do heart surgery or have heart surgery, I'm not so sure I'd use my brother-in-law, right? Okay, I'm going to use the best. Now, again, if it would make so difficult a situation for you if you didn't use your cousin, I appreciate you telling me that now. All right, I'll leave you to your cousin. If it doesn't work out, keep my information and I'm happy to help.
Yes.
I have had that happen where you do all the work, then all of a sudden they disappear.
Yeah.
And it's due to a cousin Eddie. But I like your response, which is, you've already laid the groundwork by providing to them your resources. And then you just say, okay, does cousin Eddie have this lender, these lenders?
Exactly.
Home inspection service and on and on. I like
all
that.
the
Thank
things
you.
I offer, right? You know, well, cousin Eddie, he's hard to get a hold of because he's also a bartender at the, the Four City, right? And that's usually what happens, right?
More bartenders?
Yeah. And so it's always, something like that. But again, if we have the dialogue and we communicate up front, then at least I know, right? I'd rather know than be living in ignorance and waste my time to find out that I get burned at the end.
Bob,
Yeah.
last 100K meeting, you have said, and I really, it's internalized this during, if you want to convert, like how you internalize that, believe that you have something they need. And that's
Yes.
very powerful.
It's huge, right? And people, it's like, how dogs smell fear, right? Okay. I think consumers smell confidence.
Right.
Right. I truly believe that if I am confident in what I do, and I hope, and I said, I actually, because I was trying to be I probably toned it down a little bit of what I would actually say. Right. Because I would get even more, not aggressive, but just more promoting of, hey, look, you know what, you're free to use your cousin, but that's up to you. Right.
Yeah,
you can use the best or you can use your cousin, you choose. Right. Because you got the best right here in front of you right now. And I truly believe that. So it's not like I was, trying to make something up. If I say something like, well, you've got kind of maybe I'm sort of good. I'm pretty good. Right. That doesn't work. Right. That's the dog smelling fear, not the consumer feeling confidence. Right. And so we want to just speak boldly. And by the way, you have all the tools you need. You've got HomeSnap. You've got lenders that you can rely on. You've got the skill set. If nothing else, I don't care if you've never sold a home before. I'm not even see who's on the call here right now, but I don't care if you've never sold a home before. You've got me to rely on, right? You can always fall back and say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. I'll get you the answer and I'll give you a shout back, right? And you have the group. Right. That's part of why we have this 100K is that, hey, guys, open house. I just ran across this situation and boom, you're getting all sorts of great feedback from very quality agents willing to help and engage with you. And you can always reach out to me. Right. This is the stuff I love. Right. This stuff right here. Now, let me just finish with this as far as conversion. It is impossible for you to do that until you practice. Okay. Now you can practice. Now for me, I practice at my open houses. I didn't have an accountability partner. All right. I just learned on the go. Right. The good news is that for me, when I had foreclosure across the sign, I was meeting 36 people instead of 2. So I could afford to screw up. Right. I could screw up with numbers 1 through 30. And then 31, I finally refined my skill. Right. And then boom, I got my one buyer. Because remember, I was looking for one buyer that met the by the way, I didn't have the 4 criteria back in 1993. All right. I just psychologically thought that maybe I did know them. All right. But they're still true today. Right. Is these 4 criteria. I didn't have them written down and defined. But my goal was to find one person out of my day that fit the 4 criteria. All right. If I could do that 50 weeks a year, 2 Saturdays and a Saturday and a Sunday for each week, that's 100. And I could meet 100 new buyers a year, right? From out of the blue, people that didn't know me and I didn't know them yesterday, right? And either fortunately or unfortunately for you, fortunately, you're following a guy or listening to a guy that's done it, because I did sell 100 homes a year from scratch, right? Doing what I just did. But the unfortunate thing is, your excuses kind of fall on lame, deaf ears. Okay. So that's the bad part about it for you, is having somebody that's done it, right? The good news is you can follow somebody that's done it. The bad news is you kind of lose excuses when you're listening to somebody that's done it. Because, hey, that's great, but did you try? Well, fair enough. Cool. All right. Last thing, and that's great, great feedback, Vilma. So you got to practice, right? Now you can practice at your open houses, right? And that's fine, but I'm going to highly encourage you to get together with another partner and role play this back and forth, right? Sandra, you just being on the other side of the role play are way ahead of where you were when you walked in.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Right? Now, when you get to be on this side of the role play and learn what you would say, and literally, guys, in half an hour, twice a week with a partner, you could do it over the phone. You don't have to get together, right? You could say, hey, we're going to do open house role play time, and I want to get better at doing that. Okay?
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yes, I think this is very, very good. I mean, I'm getting better. Obviously,
Good.
I mean, this is the third time in the 100K.
Right.
So I'm listening.
That's good.
But I needed some tweaking. This
right.
is
And I think the best part of tweaking would be to practice, right? Because I know it's hard. No one wants to do it. No one wants to. You're feeling kind of vulnerable when you're practicing with another person and all that. But you don't have to do it on camera. You don't have to do it in front of anybody else. It's just you and somebody else, and they're as vulnerable as you are, and you guys can share back and forth. Fair enough?
Sounds
great. Any other questions on that before we move on to some Orange Grove stuff?
No.
Nope? Good?
Nope.
All right, perfect. Make sure you write down that bear trap training thing with Brian, and let me get to my next
done.
slide. Okay, so Orange Groves. Now, Orange Groves, we're talking in this session. I just want to re-hit the 4 enriching rituals. By the way, the page numbers I reference, if you guys haven't, if you're newer to the group, we have all read or should have read Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication, right? And that book is where I'm referencing on pages 60 to 61. And in mine, it's the hardcover. I don't have mine with me, but it's the hardcover version of it. So find out where it would be in your book. All right. But the 4 enriching rituals, I even did some Monday morning motivations on them. All right. They are the morning ritual, which includes affirmations, blessings, personal prep, and exercise. By the way, if you are like Sandra, the 3rd time going to 100K, and you say, hey, Bob, I've already read 7 Levels 100 times, right? Perfect. I like the book, obviously, right? Number 1. Number 2, Michael and the guy Hal Elrod did a follow-up book called the Miracle Morning.
Good.
Okay. Has anybody read that?
Yes.
I did.
Thelma, yes?
Anna.
Yeah, if you're looking for another good read, right, specific to time blocking and really getting control of your life, it's called The Miracle Morning for Real Estate. There are many miracle mornings because the guy Hal Elrod wrote them for mortgage people and for all these different sales entities. But he teamed up with Michael and a couple other people to write The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. And by the way, it's a continuation of the story of, what's their names in the book?
It's Michelle.
Yeah, it's Michelle is the lady. Now and she's now married to, what's the dude's name again? I can't remember. Anybody? It's the 2 characters, right, in the book, right? The Michelle, the mortgage person, and the dude, real estate agent who overcomes his
It's Rick. It's Rick.
Rick, thank you very much. All right, yeah. So it continues on the story of Rick and Michelle, and it's all good. But it's really good because they teach. There's an acronym I can't remember off the top of my head in the Miracle Morning. It's like SW.
Can you see it now?
What's it?
Can you see the book?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, who is it?
It's Anna.
Anna, no, I'm not seeing you. Let me show. Hang on. I don't have you on my tile. Let me see you. Oh, there it is. Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's this one.
Awesome.
It's really
It's
good,
really
and
good.
it's not expensive. It's, I don't know, 19 or something, but it's a really good book.
Perfect. Beautiful. It's really good, and it's going to help you. It's what? Do you remember the acronym real quick, Anna, in that book for the? It's like SW. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, great!
It's like 7 things you're going to do every morning.
7 things.
If you find it, let us know.
Savers.
Savers. Is that it?
Right.
Is it SAVERS? Yes. And you'll look it up. I could look it up here in a second to find out if I just put a Miracle Morning Savers, and it would give us the acronym, what they stand for. But get the book. It's really good. If you're looking for a extra credit assignment, all right, then jump on that. But it's going to really help with your morning ritual, okay? Because in this book, in the 7 Levels of Communication, it talks about affirmation, blessings, personal, all those different things that are there. Hey, Ray, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am here.
Hey, I got a call from, I just want to say thank you. I got a call from a friend of yours from Keller Williams that I think she's looking at joining us. We sent her out a package. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
It was from me?
Yeah, I think it was from you.
Cool.
See? Look at that. I'm almost positive. I thought she said it was, maybe it wasn't, but I'm almost positive it was you. So
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. If not, if it was somebody else, then you're getting their thank you instead.
I'll take it. I'll
All
take
right,
it.
perfect.
Thank you
Good
if
deal.
it was.
All right. Okay. So we got morning ritual, affirmations, blessings, personal prep, exercise. These are all things to get your day started right. Okay. Remember, we want to get the blood flowing, the endorphins moving, all that kind of stuff. The pre-leave ritual. This is huge, guys. All right. Listen to this one. This could change your life. I talked about this when I discussed first and 10s in a Monday motivation, and it was a very well received one, right? Because most of us don't have a desk, right?
Oh.
We just have a laptop. Okay, wherever I am, right? And that's great. But
Right.
reality is my desk is my computer bag, right? So wherever my computer bag is where my desk is for the day. Right? So what I learned, I'm going to share with you, give me 3 minutes to talk about first and 10, okay? Desk in order means before I leave and pack up for the day, and that means it could be I got to pack things up because I got to get to my kids' Little League practice, or I got to pick up kids from school, or I've got to go show property or whatever, but I've been working at an area, right? And it's time to gather my things and leave. First of all, I'm going to gather them orderly. I'm going to put them where I know they will be tomorrow. Okay, everybody with me? All right, it's not just throw them anywhere or whatever, okay? You got to have some organization in your life because there's freedom and structure. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right? The more structured I am, the freer I become. All right? Now, first and 10, this can change your life if you've never heard this concept. All right, so what I would do is if I knew I had to leave the place I am at 3 o'clock, I'm going to set an alarm for 2:50 on my phone. All right, 250. I'm going to give myself 10 minutes, right? Because here's what would happen. I can envision this like it was yesterday, right? I'm working at my laptop. I've got 3 pending deals and 2 listings and 4 other buyers that I'm searching for properties for, right?
Wow.
I'm scattered. I got files all over my desk, right? What was happening before is I'd look at my watch and say, oh my God, it's 3:03. I was supposed to be gone by 3. I'd shove everything in a pile, throw it in my bag, shut off my computer, out the door, right? As soon as I learned this technique, it changed my life, right? I, instead, at 2:50, my alarm went off and said, okay, I got 10 minutes to clean up. Let me take a look at these files that are open. I'm in the midst of them right now, right? I know what's going on. I'm mentally engaged with all this stuff. I'm going to write down, okay, here on this pending file, I got to follow up with the appraiser. So I'm going to take a little blank sheet of paper for tomorrow. I'm going to write follow up on appraiser for 123 Main Street. Here's the appraiser's name and his phone number. Boom. That's all I got on that file. Close it up, put it away, right? This other one, nothing to go on that one. I'm good on that one. Close it up, put it away. This one right here, that's another pending file, but I got to follow up with the other agent to see if they got the repair addendum signed. Okay, boom. Repair addendum on 456 Maple. All right, here's the agent's name. Call them first thing tomorrow. Boom. Here's their phone number. Boom. Okay, boom. Shut it up. There might be 2 things on that one. Write it down. Shut it up. Put it away. Right. Well, okay, over here, these buyers. All right, I sent them a list. We're supposed to see. They never got back to me. They were supposed to see property sometime this week. Follow up with Susie Q. All right, regarding property showings later this week. Right. Whatever. Boom. Write her number down. Boom. Put it on that list. Okay. Shut that file up, put it away. Do that for everything I've got going on, right? look at my watch, 10 minutes, boom, put it away. Whew. I feel so much better, because what was happening to me before is at 3:03, when I shut everything up, shoved it in my bag and ran out the door, as I would go to pick up my kid from school, all I could think of was, there is so much I didn't get done.
Yeah.
There are so many things I left undone in those files. But by me mentally putting them on a piece of paper on a to-do list for tomorrow or a little bit later, right? I've at least given myself the freedom to say, whew, it's off my mind and onto my list. I won't forget it, right?
Yeah.
So then it all gets done. And quite frankly, I look at my list and I had 8 things to do tomorrow, right? Well, on my way, it's going to take me 15 minutes to drive to go pick up my kid. I looked at it. I dialed Susie Q's number real fast, the buyer, to follow up about showings. And on my way through Bluetooth very safely, I had both hands on the wheel, right? I would call Susie, and then if I got in a discussion, or at least left her a message, and I could check through that one already for tomorrow, right? But as it was all there, boom, it's done. Now I pick up my kid, I'm engaged, I'm okay, I don't have all this work hanging over my head while I'm supposed to be at my son's Little League practice, right? Or whatever the case may be. And then tomorrow, when it comes time to open up my laptop and go to work, I've got my list of things to do. It's not me open up my files trying to scratch my head and figure out what I needed to do. I already have it down. I'm telling you guys, it will change everything you do if you can do that one small tweak. All right? Matter of fact, it's that one thing. Matter of fact, if I were Gary Keller, I'd write a book called The One Thing. All right? Oh, he did already. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So, but the reality is, one things can change your life, right? Enough one things can be a huge differentiator. And if you could learn to do that, now it freed up another hour in my day tomorrow, because I didn't have to reopen all the files to figure out where I was. Fair enough? Okay. So first and 10, take that mantra and understand what I said when I mean by time block for the next day. Fair enough? Okay, cool. Pre-sleep ritual. Okay, here's what I've begun doing, and I'm fighting it a little bit. All right, is I'm trying to do what I tell my son to do.
Guilty.
That, yeah, you know, I have a rule with my 16-year-old that he has to be off all electronics an hour before he's supposed to have lights out. Okay. Now he can read, he can do other things. He can, you know, things like we used to do. I don't make him read by candlelight. I don't make him, we're not going to go, we're going to remember back in the day. We're going back to the times of, what you call it? Little House on the Prairie, right? But I do make him disengage for an hour before. And literally when I say make him disengage, like his phone is in my possession. Right? Okay. He can't sneak it in. You know what I mean? I have his phone with me. And, you know, just because I'm going to help him become disciplined and remove the temptation. Right. But guess what? I should maybe have my wife take my phone out of my possession.
It's true.
Right? Okay. But my goal is for me to be off an hour and read an actual physical book, and not just, I would lie to myself saying, hey, I'm just reading a book on my phone. Right? Which I would, but even that's not the same as reading a book, right? Because I have, you know, all these things, books on my phone, which is convenient, but not so good for my stimulation when I'm trying to get proper rest, right? So for me, I'm reading some other actual hard copy books, and I'm weaning myself off. I've got myself down to half an hour now, all right? But I'm trying to get to an hour where I can at least spend some time and slow it down. All right. So, and in this case, we talk about visualization, prayer, meditation, whatever you want to do. Okay. And then finally, the Sunday night ritual. You know, I'm a huge fan of this, right? This is the once a week. We're going to review our previous week. We're going to plan our upcoming week. Now, again, don't get me wrong. We do it in pencil, right? It can be done in pencil. You'll see scratch marks through mine. Now, I'm old school, and I still use a, you know, old school day timer, right? That has all my week lined out and everything else that and I've got different things that I know I need to do and how they roll out and everything. It's just better for me. Like this is this week, you know, just lined out. It's just better for me to see it. It allows me to move things over, put huge arrows. Like I didn't get that done, so let me put that arrow over tomorrow, right? And I put a big circle around it when it's not crossed off. So I remember that I did, just because the day's gone doesn't mean it's done, right? All that kind of stuff. But I'm just big on planning your week, and it doesn't take long. I think I told you, Joseph and I, because he's doing virtual school, he has a Sunday night ritual now. We go through it every Sunday night. We plan out his week, when he's going to get certain things done. He has live lessons that he has to attend and online and so on and so forth. So we get all that mapped out so that he can get everything done he needs to get done and still achieve what he wants to achieve, right? So we're trying to set those things in motion. Now, again, even look at this. I kind of go overboard here. Schedule clothes and food, right? Okay, like please, come on. Right. Well, here's the thing. I talked about this yesterday at the Jacksonville 100K launch. Was we say we can't plan out what we're going to wear for the next week ahead of time, but we do it every time we go on a trip. Right? Anybody ever packed for a trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. I mean, we look at the weather. We know, hey, it's going to be so and so, and it's going to be 74 and sunny on Wednesday, but a storm's rolling in and it looks like it's only going to be 58 and cloudy. So I better plan for that. I mean, we do that when we're not going to have our closet readily available to us.
Right.
So is there anything wrong with at least thinking through, hey, look, I'm going to meet some clients, so I want to look a little better on this day. This day is going to be a sweatshirt and sweats kind of day. Don't have to shave, everything else, that's that kind of day. Right. All right. So it's entirely up to you, but I think through that kind of stuff. So I know, at least mentally, ideally you can write it down, just have that kind of stuff. Now, and food, I just throw that in there because here's what I know. I read a book many, many years ago called Fit for Life, and was written in the 80s. And he said a couple of things in there very critical that stuck with me and still stick with me. But one of the things he said, if today is Tuesday and you don't know what you're eating for lunch on Thursday, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow. Yeah. If today is Tuesday, which I know it's not, it's Wednesday. All right. But in the book, it said, if today is Tuesday and you don't know what you're eating for lunch on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
I can hear the title of the book. Can you?
Yeah, it's called Fit for Life.
Oh,
FITFORLIFE. Fit for Life. And it was powerful for me because here's again, you guys might be better than me, but if I don't plan out my meals, I guarantee my unplanned meal will have a bun on it. Right? Okay. That's just the way, it's just natural, right? It's just the way right? Or I'll convince myself that the spicy nacho Dorito bag for $1.89 that they sell at any convenience store, all right, and a Dr. Pepper is a healthy meal. I can trust me, I can justify anything, right? Just give me long enough and I'll justify it somehow, right? So, there's those chips were made with cornmeal, and corn became the vegetable, if you look at it, if you twist it a little bit. And, next thing you know, my mind says, hey, but then I get on the scale tomorrow and I'm like, oh, all right. So again, I'm just telling you, this is more me being transparent with my own struggles than anything else. But I had to, this morning when I had to run out the door, because I got in late last night from Jacksonville, and I ran out the door to come to make sure I could get set up at this office to be scheduled. But I did throw some healthy leftovers, all right, into a Tupperware thing that I know they got a microwave here at the Regis that I'll have for lunch today. And it's going to be a lot better than you running over to Jimmy John's or whatever's close to here and grabbing a sandwich, right? Which would be my go-to in the past. Fair enough. All right. So I'm going to continue to push those 4 enriching rituals because I think that they can be game changers to you, right? If you really want to take your morning ritual to the next level, read that book, The Morning, right? I didn't read that. I listened to it on audio. It's incredible. All right. It's a really good book. If you want to change your life even more, do your first and 10s and set that alarm for 5 or 10 minutes before you know you have to leave so you can in a systematic manner, clean up, right? Before you just throw everything in a bag and go, right? It'll change your life. Pre-sleep ritual, removing yourself from technology start with 15 minutes before bed. All right. If you're doing it like I had been doing it up to the last minute, putting it down and then trying to fall asleep. All right. Wean yourself off. Right. We'll go through withdrawals. If I need to come strap you to, a bed, all right, let me know. Right. But whatever you have to do to wean yourself off. And then the Sunday night ritual, I cannot promote that enough. All right. It's funny. I got to tell you guys a quick story about 100K. So yesterday I was reminded there's a guy, we had 9 cappers in Jacksonville. So the first time I got a chance to get it to Jacksonville. So we had our cappers lunch in Jacksonville yesterday, just 9 of us around a table. And then one of the guys was Corey Rose. So flashback probably 4 years ago, I was teaching the 100K and I was not introducing Michael Mayer's book, 7 Levels of Communication, right? Because I hadn't read it. I didn't know it. Right. I'd heard about it, but I thought it was like one of those love language books, right? Like, that I read through church, right? I thought, I've read that kind of stuff before, right? I don't need that. So one of these guys, Corey Rose, I don't know if you know Corey. Corey is a heavy-set African-American guy, kills it in the business, by the way. Funny as all get out. He looks like, you guys ever seen Cedric the Entertainer?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He reminds me of Cedric the Entertainer. He's funny. Corey's hilarious, right? And just a great guy. So he had come to 100K. And back in 100K, I was teaching, before I read Michael's book, I was teaching, hey, you got it. And I didn't call it a Sunday night ritual, but I did mine on Sunday. I said, you got to plan your week. I like to do it on Sundays. Is what I used to say, right? I would teach eating healthy and living right, and start to establish relationships, some long-term, that's how we're going to have orange groves that will feed us long into the future, right? That will be business that we don't just have to meet every year. It can come to us because we're being introduced to other people, right? Well, Corey, I was teaching that without having read the book, and Corey calls me up one day and he says, hey, Bob. I said, hey, Corey, what's going on? He said, 7 L's. I said, what? He said, 7 L's. I said, 7 what? He said, 7 L's. I said, what are you talking about, Corey? He said, 7 levels of communication. I said, Corey, I got to help me out. I don't know what you're saying. He goes, don't give me that. Everything you're teaching is right out of that book. He said, if you're going to teach it, you may as well give the guy credit for stealing his stuff, right? So I said, I got to tell you, Corey, I said, I'll give him credit, but I literally that afternoon went and read the book, right? I went and picked it up at a Barnes & Noble, read it in that afternoon, and I just said, what the heck? This dude's been sitting in my class and he wrote a book about what we teach, right? And so it was funny. It reminded me seeing Corey yesterday about how he's the one that he loves to take credit of introducing us to 7 levels of communication as we go through and do it. So this stuff works is all I'm telling you, right? And remember, the whole goal around orange groves is to make sure that we are establishing relationships. We're digging deeper with a few rather than shallow with many. We're finding ways that we can get eyeball to eyeball still, but not with new people, with people that already know, like, and trust us. We're not going to ask for referrals. We're just going to see how we can be of assistance to them. And if we do that enough times, they will introduce us to more business, right? Not because we're asking for it, because we are #earning the right, all right, to be heard. Are you with me? Okay. So that's just a reminder. All right. This is simple. I got this. Here's the commitment. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay. Decide that I'm going to, one day this week, one day in the next 2 weeks, let's do the morning ritual. Okay. Let's plan out a morning from the time I wake up just till 11 a.m. All right. Just one morning. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just start there. Okay. Try the pre-sleep ritual once. Wean yourself off 15 minutes. Take myself away from technology, read a book, read the Bible, read some other thing that would be meditation or motivating to you, right? And help you calm it down before you go to sleep. See if you sleep better, all right? Pre-leave ritual, try that 1st and 10 thing I talked about, okay? These are our assignments. If you got it for coming up, try that 1st and 10, set that alarm before you have to leave. Time block, actually look at some time and say, hey, look, I'm going to try in on a Sunday night. Just give me a rough sketch of what my week is starting to look like. If you know your daughter's ballet recital is Thursday at 3:30, don't realize that Thursday at 3:25, right? Let's take a look at that Sunday so we can map our week around that. Physical fitness and eating right, continue to plan how you are going to get your cardio in and how you're going to eat well. I did put on here 10 power notes. If you haven't done a power note before, right, start with 5, right? Go into the book, all right, the 7 Levels Communication book. In the back, there's a glossary. Look up power note and what the definition of a power note is. And I challenge you to send out at least 5, all right, this in the next 2 weeks. Have a traffic generating event, right? That means whatever that looks like. Open house, bank-owned open house, regular open house, go sit at the flea market, whatever is going to generate traffic. These are, again, traffic generating events to us are opportunities to meet people we don't know today. Sandra.
I just wanted to say, crazy, but I did a garage sale. My community did a garage sale, so I wasn't ready. My husband wasn't ready, but I told him, I don't care. Let's throw some stuff outside. People are going to come. And we did. We earned about $170 and 1 lead. We had cards that day.
That's awesome. Love it. Yeah. And you know what? You got a chance to get eyeball to eyeball with people, and you're not naturally going to have a real estate conversation with them, but sometimes it might come up in passing, right? Yep. If nothing else, you met some neighbors or some new friends and people. Why not? Do something, right? I love it. That's perfect.
I'm doing
Get an accountability partner. I'm sorry.
I said I'm doing another estate sale on Saturday out of that up and coming listing with a coming soon sign out front.
Perfect. I love that idea. That's you get people coming in, they're like, oh, not only is the furniture for sale, but the house is for sale. Love it. Great concept. Why not? That's perfect.
Oh, I got a buyer and a listing, a possible listing out of the last one.
Why not? Do it. Wash, rinse, repeat, right?
And that first time home buyer, Brian's approving her right now. I'm meeting her this afternoon again to relook at a house that we looked at on Saturday.
Perfect. Get it. No. Love it. Awesome job.
Moving around.
Double thumbs up for implementing. Good job.
Finally moving forward.
That's it. Love it. Good job, Barb. That's awesome. All right. So number 8, get an accountability partner and start role playing with them. Right? Do what Sandra and I did. Go back and forth. Try it a couple times a week. Time block it in that you have 30 minutes that you both can do it. I don't care if one of you is sitting at home, the other sitting in car line waiting to pick up their kid. You can be on your phone and role play. Roll up your window so people don't think you're crazy. All right. What's this lady doing? She's talking to somebody that's at an open house, right? Maybe leave your windows down. Maybe someone will wander by and you can sell a home to them. All right. And Sunday night ritual. That's part of, time blocking as well. Do your Sunday night ritual. Okay. So those aren't that difficult. By the way, if you did this over and over and over again, you would kill this business. I'm just telling you. All right. There is no magic pill other than the basics are the magic pill.
Okay.
All right. And getting better and better at them. All right. Okay. This is simple. I got this. Okay. Well, these are the same things. I just went over that. Here, we do have an assignment. Read the greatest sales. Next book is The Greatest Salesman in the World. I'm going to go back to that one over and over and over again. This is a mindset book. If you guys have not read this one, all right, lock it in. I've got it in book format. I've got it in audio format. I listen to it at least once a month. We're going to talk about scrolls. You're going to see me referencing scrolls in the future and what those mean. It's incredibly powerful stuff. Okay, just continue to dig in to that stuff. Hey, Gene, what's going on? Gene and Brian, I see you guys. Look, hey, where are you? What's that behind up there? What's all that stuff? You're mute. Oh, yeah, I can't hear you. Turn your microphone on. Oh, there you are. What is all that stuff? Now I can hear you. Can you hear? What is that? All right, you can tell us later. I can't hear you, so we'll tell you later. All right. So did somebody have a question, I'm sorry, about the greatest salesman in the world or anything else?
Oh, Bob, I was going to say, in the pre-sleep ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it on the scroll? He always say read it 3 times a day, morning, midday, and nighttime. So I read that loud at night. So that
Do you really? That's awesome. That is a great, by the way, if you're looking, that's awesome advice, Vilma. If you're looking, because those, and she is correct that if you follow the true recipe in The Greatest Salesman in the World, you're going to read these out loud to yourself 3 times a day, as that's what the scrolls, that's what he's supposed to do in the scrolls, right?
Right.
That's powerful. And those scrolls, boy, they will give you chills if you really take them and internalize them. They're powerful, powerful stuff. If you haven't read it yet, you're going to get excited about reading. By the way, it's a quick read. It's real thin. You can pick it up for $4.99 at Barnes and Noble someplace. Okay, it's an easy read.
Just gonna see if they have it.
Okay, now here's rubber meet the road. Okay, so between now and 2 weeks from now, if you have yet to get yourself out and do a traffic generating event, your only reason for not doing a traffic generating event is if you can prove to me that you have 3 deals under contract. Okay, so those are your 2 options. Have 3 deals under contract and realize that I have access to paperless pipeline.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you can't lie to me, right? Okay. Number 1, or a selfie. You guys love, you realtors, you guys are all big hams like I am, right? Take a selfie of you at a traffic generating event. Okay.
Remember that at the open house.
Yeah.
All right. And you can't use the same one you used last time. All right. I put a date stamp on it. I want to know that it's legit. Cool? Everybody got that?
Yeah.
So, we're putting pressure on you now. And then continue to share your challenges on the Facebook group page. Right? As we continue to dig in, we're going to learn and grow and help each other. So continue to put that up there and on a consistent basis. By the way, if you have something that's like kind of more of an emergency, don't just tag me on Facebook, because part of my goal is I'm weaning myself off of Facebook a little bit, as far as I'm checking it twice a day, morning and evening. But Mara, my assistant, is monitoring it and trying to tell me if there are big, emergencies that pop up that I need to address. But everybody should have my phone number. If you don't, it's 727-409-3368. It's on the FHR roster, everything else. But feel free to text me if you have something that's, a major issue. Cool. All right. So continue to share those there. Cool. All right. Here are your commitments. Don't forget about these. All right.
Oh, God.
8 hours of sleep, 64 ounces of water, right? 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise 3 times a week. Volunteer at a nonprofit 4 hours a month. Donate 10% of your income to a church, synagogue, or other nonprofit. Worship once a week. Finish. Don't just start things. Finish them, right? All big goals. Again, these are life changers right here. I've already given you your other book that you get to read this month. Okay? And by the way, it can be any book technically. I'm asking you to read the other one, but it shouldn't be some picture with a Fabio looking dude on the cover. All right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. You can get that fixed now. You can get that fixed now watching the Hallmark Channel. All right. There are lots of, and they're not Fabio looking, but they're always guys that are,
They're always good.
widowed dads that know how to bake and cook and in touch with their feelings. All right. Go fall in love with a guy in the Hallmark Channel. All right. Jeanette and I watch those things and we laugh all the time because it's fun. They're very lighthearted and they're easy to watch. Yeah.
Family that, all that stuff.
Okay. Who has a question?
Okay. Yes, I do.
Okay.
That listing, I got a waiver signed by the owner. Okay, because the cleaning crew for the tile in the house is on the 28th. The other like 29th. Can I then do an advertised just flyer to in the neighborhood for an open house on a Sunday?
Sure, as long as your waiver is and that is signed that it's not in the MLS, you can even market it all you want.
Okay, because I want to do a neighborhood open house first.
Yep, go for it. That's a great idea.
And then we're going to put it the next week on MLS.
Perfect.
If we have a
Absolutely.
contract on it.
Yep.
And I'm hoping for a contract before then.
Even better. That's perfect. So yes,
I'm going to
absolutely.
believe in it, not hope, believe it.
There you go. We will
Have an open
see you
house
do it.
first and then Melissa?
Anybody else got any quick questions
Thank you.
before we go? Because I know we're already 8 minutes over, so I want to make sure I release you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Everybody good?
Thank
Hey, I'll
you.
have Mara post this if you ever want to go back and watch it, any portion of it. Like if you wanted to rewatch Sandra and I's dialogue back and forth or role play. I'll have Mara post this on the 100K as soon as it becomes available. You don't have to watch the whole thing. If you want to just watch any portion, it'll be up there, or anybody misses it and they want to catch it, it'll be up there.
Okay.
Cool?
Awesome. Thank
Awesome.
you.
All right, guys, have a great day. If you need anything, don't forget we have virtual office hours on Friday, 1 to 2 Eastern, Monday, 1 to 2 Eastern. You can always jump on that link if you ever have any questions.
Are you still meeting on Mondays?
Yeah, Mondays and Fridays, 1 to 2. Oh, Monday, the morning grow session. We are doing that. I got to check the calendar.
Okay.
For this Monday. Right now in the grow sessions, we're doing the Zoom. I'm sorry, we're doing the home snap training.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is at each location.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Newport Richie is going to have it or not because it's going to be spring break for her. The lady who's doing the, Jenny Restrepo who's doing it. So check the calendar. I'll clarify with that. I won't be there. I'm going to be out of town. But then the following Monday, which I believe is the 25th, we will have a grow session in Wesley Chapel, and it will be a home snap training class.
Okay.
Cool?
Bob,
Thank you.
Yeah, Renee.
Thank you.
the next 100K.
Oh, good. I didn't put that. So 2 weeks from today, March 27th, we will do 100K via Zoom again at 10 a.m. Thank you.
March
27th, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
Have a great
exactly.
day. If you need me, let me know.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.